Good morning. Welcome back. It's been a while. Today we're talking to Infinite Lottery, and I think Sasha is going to teach us all about it. It's a little bit complicated. It took me several reads to kind of get it a little. So hopefully Sasha can make it much simpler for us. Morning, Sasha. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Another day in paradise, as they say, sir. Another day in paradise. So tell me about yourself. Well, tell us about yourself, and then we'll move on to the infinite lottery.
Yeah, absolutely. I got started in DeFi. I believe it was around December 2020, I want to say. Or no, 2021? No,
Mm-hmm.
2020 going into 2021. So relatively new to the space compared to, how long DeFi's been going, but kind of at the end of the last bull cycle. I got in and then immediately fell in love with it, stopped doing, you know, a lot of things to just be on Telegram all day and participating in DeFi projects, investing in them, and learning more about them. And then a few months into it, I got started with actually programming in the space. So deving. Most of what I do prior to this was white hat work. So helping people get compromised, helping people with tech support, that kind of stuff. The first time you split an LP or have to bridge something, it's always terrifying. So that's a lot of the stuff that I help people with. And then um, I guess a few months ago, maybe earlier in the year, Mike and Zavi and the whole team reached out and we started chatting about a new DApp that we've now branded Infinite Lottery and the kind of mechanics behind it. And we had a ton of sessions where we were kind of hashing out how the game theory would work and how to make it most bullish. And out of that came the current incarnation of Infinite Lottery that we've been working to build for a while. And it's exciting because it's almost here. It's almost here and into fruition.
Beautiful, beautiful. Can I want to step back a little bit because I wanted to. Part of the reason I really wanted to do this AMA is was I've kind of been watching you for a while. Uh, you've been in this space for a while, and I've noticed your work. Um, Full disclosure, he helped a family member of mine fix. Uh, uh, she did something stupid, and he helped her fix it. But I've noticed you around quite a bit, especially in the drip community. I know that you've helped quite a few people, including, like I said, my niece. Thank you very much for that. Um, how do you think doing that has affected your opinion on DeFi? I'm curious.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. Kind of like I was saying before, so a couple months into me getting my toes, tipped in the very deep waters of DeFi, the number one thing that I saw was that um, people were confused because their crypto in general has a steep learning curve. Um, People would get tricked and phished and compromised and have their assets stolen and get rugged and like all this awful stuff would happen to normal, unsuspecting people who were just trying to, you know, make it in the world. Um, and particularly when it came to botting. Like I have a background in data engineering, so that's kind of moving data from point A to point B, which the entire blockchain is data, right? And then you can interact with it programmatically through bots. And so I started building bots, see if I could help people. And then eventually I built a really crappy bot. Uh, I went to Ray in the drip community and was like, hey, I'm working on this bot to help compromised people. Do you know anybody who's compromised that we can kind of try it out? He sent a couple people my way. My crappy bots worked pretty well. So in the world of botting, you have you have people doing transactions manually, then you have like slow, crappy bots, and then you have really good bots, and then you have unstoppable bots that are amazing
Mm-hmm.
bots. And
Mm-hmm.
I started all the way down at the end of like super crappy bots, and then I kind of worked my way, refined them, reached out to other white hats in the community. There were a bunch of us in the beginning, particularly in the drip community, all kind of working together to beat these scammers, and it turned out to be really fun. It's something that I really enjoy doing. Like I like helping people, whether it's with their compromised accounts, which I hope, you know, no one ever has to hit me up, but if you do, it's fine. I will get you squared away. But even for other things like how to get started, how to use MetaMask, how to switch to Rabby, like big things, little things, I'm always down to help people, and I think it's fun, and it's what I perceive as what we need more in the DeFi community as a whole, because it's rough out there, man. It's like, you post in a chat for the first time, immediately you have people calling you. You have scammers DMing you. You have tech support, quote unquote. You have
Yeah.
Rose DMing you. It's overwhelming. It's crazy. And it's
And
like,
that's not even to the hostility that um, these people face when they go into these communities. Because I noticed the biggest thing I first noticed when I got into DeFi was that the veterans, they forgot how hard this shit was to learn. So
oh yeah.
when somebody's like asking something really simple, the whole room will jump on them and be like, "How can you be so stupid? I could blah blah blah," and it's just not necessary. And we're taking a different approach in my community, and I love that you've taken that approach too. And I think that's like again that's I think that's why I noticed you around you, Baby Grinch, and Mathieu. You guys are all like well known, I should say.
Yeah, we all have our own like flavors, I'd say, especially in those three. But absolutely, I mean, Grinch is great. Matthew's awesome. Matthew taught me a ton about because he was the original white hat in the drip community. So he taught me a boatload. One of the before I even reached out to Ray, I actually reached out to Matthew and was like, "Hey, do you need any help?" And as somebody who had never hit him up before, sent him a DM. He was like, no," which I thought was really funny. Um, and but then from there, I started building my own bots, and once I got, uh, once he knew I wasn't a scammer myself, we started collaborating more, which was really fun.
Yeah, I mean that sounds about right. I would have said, "Who the hell are you two?"
Yeah, exactly. I was asking him all sorts of questions, like, so how do your bots work? So what do they do? Are they monitoring the mempool? All this stuff, and he was like, I can't tell you any of this. F off.
Yeah, I could just say I've talked to him a couple times, and he's all business, so I can
Yeah,
imagine
he's great. He's a real good guy for sure.
he is. Okay,
But
go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, but the number one thing in crypto for me, at least, is like education. It's so different from the Web 2 world, and it's so different from traditional finance. The learning curve is really steep, and you have people coming in, and all they've done is buy some Bitcoin on a centralized exchange, and then they're moving that to like the jungle that is DeFi, and it's a lot. It's a lot to take in, even with like the kind of deving experience I've had when I started, it was a lot. I was like, what is this? I remember actually one of the first guys who ever helped me. Um, it was right when Drip um, was getting its second liquidity pool right before the garden launched, and everybody was pairing LPs. And I was in one of the chats, I was like, "What's an LP?" And this guy was like walking me through how to do it on PancakeSwap. At the time, I didn't even like. I followed him, but I was like, "I don't know what any of this is. I'm not doing this." But he was walking me through, and he was a super nice dude. And like guys like that, people who have the knowledge of how all this stuff works. Um, are really what like make these communities, and make them so good and make them great for new people coming on because there's so many predators out there. And anything we can do to kind of balance the scale back in the good guys
Uh,
um,
I,
side is good.
Yeah, if I could offer a piece of advice to any community out there, any crypto, you gotta stop letting your people jump on the newbies. You need the newbies. Everybody's talking about when moon, when moon. That's when moon, when everybody knows how to do stuff and they get into crypto. That's when it happens. So, forgive the tangent. Let's go back on to topic. So, Sasha,
Hmm.
tell me about. Give me like a bird's eye view of Infinite Lottery, and then
Yeah,
we'll go
absolutely.
deeper.
So it's a lottery DApp, as it's in the name, and what makes it infinite is that when you buy in, your tickets never expire. So if you think about like a state lottery, you the Powerball or whatever, you buy a
Mm-hmm.
ticket, um, and then you have a chance to win whenever it's drawn. If you win, amazing, because you just won like $50 million or $100 million or whatever. But if you lose, you throw out the ticket and then you move on. What makes Infinite Lottery a little bit different than that model is that when a when a round is drawn, it your ticket doesn't go away. So if you don't win, your ticket just doesn't just disappear into the ether. It actually moves up to the next round. And then there's another draw. And then if you win, don't win, doesn't matter. Your ticket then moves up again to the next draw, and it keeps on going. So you never actually lose your tickets. And as you go up, um, you have more for participating. You get more opportunities to um, uh, buy more tickets in the ecosystem and participate more and do things that increase your odds of winning, things like that. So the idea is that you buy in, and it's not a single event. So you're forever in this pool of tickets that could win, and you could win at any time. And we're using Chainlink to pick the winners, so it's verifiably random. It's all on chain, decentralized in that kind of Chainlink sort of way. It's like kind of the standard in the industry right now for picking random numbers. So you know
Mm-hmm.
that you're not, you know, I'm not sitting there typing 1, 2, 7, 6, 8. Okay, that's the ticket I want, into a back end somewhere.
Mm. Okay, okay. And like this is the part I had my head wrapping my head around. If it's if it okay, it's infinite, right? I imagine it's like a staircase going up, right? And as the staircase is going up, you're picking more and more people, and each time it's more and more. Does each round? How does am I getting that right?
Kind of. Less like a staircase and more like a pyramid. I know that has some negative connotations, but that negative connotation has nothing to do with infinite
I,
lottery.
I,
But it is more like a
I,
pyramid where we have what we call L1s, which are kind of like level ones. That's what the L is, and that's what you buy into. So when you buy a ticket, it goes into an L1, and each L1 is capped at 1,000 tickets. So that's $1,000 of USD
okay.
or of USDC, but yeah, USD to make it simple. And then once that $1,000 is filled, the round is closed, winner's drawn, and it opens up another L1. And then when 20 of those happen, those tickets go up to an L2. And then of those 20, a winner's drawn from the L2, which consists of essentially 20,000 gross number of tickets, and then a portion of those get paid out to the winners, and then a portion goes up to the next round. And then when 10 L2s have been closed and picked, it goes up to an L3. Then 10 L3s goes up to an L4, and these are all happening simultaneously, more or less. So there's only ever one L1 open at a time because that's where everybody buys in. Um, but you can have, you know, well, a ticket is $1, so you you can have people buying in all at the same time and filling rounds and closing rounds and moving their tickets up the ladder, and I guess ladder is kind of appropriate then, moving up the ladder and kind of keep going. And that's the cool thing about it, that it just kind of keeps going as people buy in all at the L1s. It just keeps building up more L2s, and then as the L2s build up, then they go up to L3s and then L4s, and then by the time they get to even 4 or 5, the rewards are pretty huge. It's kind of crazy. So like the initial ones, you're winning a couple $100, which is awesome, but not life changing. But as you win like an L4 and L5, you're getting like you're getting some serious dough, which is pretty cool.
Can you see my screen? Is that
I can. Yep.
is that what you were kind of describing a second ago?
Level 2 draws. Yeah, essentially. Um, so each level 1 has 20 of them, and then each level 2 has 10. So that's what the 200 means. And then it goes up to a level 3, and then 10 L3s go to a level 4. And then it just kind of keeps going from there. The only one that's different is the first one, the L1, is 20 L1s for one L2, and then after that, it's always 10.
Mm, okay. I swear I thought I understood this. I think I kind of do now.
So the thing about it, once you get used to the terminology and the basic outline and structure of it, the other pieces start to fall into place. But yeah, at first it can be a little confusing.
I even had ChatGPT explain it to me.
ChatGPT, infinite lottery aside, I love ChatGPT so much. If I'm gonna shill something, it's that. That's the best tool.
Uh, it makes me look efficient. Okay, I'm trying to. I'm looking through the. I don't know if you guys can see the my screen. I'm sharing the different photos that the different documents that you guys shared in that
Hmm.
in our little room. There. So okay, let's. I have $100, right?
Hmm.
And I go into the level one, right?
Yep.
Then what do I do after that? Do I keep checking weekly, daily, and if I don't win, I can add more to it? That's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. Is
Yeah.
like
So
how many times can I win? Like if I win, does that negate it?
no, no, it doesn't. So the uh what do I want to say? Okay, yeah. So whenever you buy in tickets, it's always at an L1. So you don't buy into an L3. You buy in an L1, and then eventually the tickets roll up to an L3. Um, and so if you have $100, you buy 100 tickets, that's going to go into an L1. And let's say there were already 900 tickets in there, just hanging out from other people. So the open L1 round has 900 tickets in it. You buy in with 100. You just closed that round. So you close that L1. And now
Mm-hmm.
a winner from the people who are participating in it and who have the 1,000 tickets, a winner will be drawn. And that person will win the prize from the L1. So it's like, uh, don't quote me on this, I think it's $300. So you win, $300. So if you put in 100 and then you won that L1, then you get 300 back. That's, epic already. You're already ROI times three. Um, and then after that, a new L1 will open. You won't be part of that unless you buy more tickets. But then your existing tickets will roll up to an L2. And we have
Mm,
something, I don't want to muddy the water too much, but we have mechanisms in place that can increase like the number of tickets that you have going up. So we have ROI tickets. That's what we call them. Whereas essentially, like you're kind of getting bonus tickets uh, just for participating in an L1, but those also go to roll over to another L1. So they don't go directly up; they go over to an L1, and then those get combined in an L2, assuming they're under the same L2 umbrella. But yeah, so you always buy in an L1. That's the main thing you need to know, and
okay.
then your tickets just keep going up as draws keep happening.
Now, okay, so eventually there's going to be set, and then it goes up to all the way up to level 8. Is that the max?
No, it can keep infinite, right? So it can keep going. The numbers are pretty crazy at the higher levels. So, you know, it's not that you couldn't have an L20. It's that,
Well,
uh,
I'm trying.
you know,
I'm trying to.
why?
I'm trying to figure out how the multiple rounds are going to run. Are they going to run concurrently, consecutively? Like, for example, um, I I didn't formulate that thought right, but does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think I got you. So it's more or less,
Okay,
um,
let me rephrase it. Okay, let me
mhm,
rephrase it. So I have a house, right? And the first the first level is one room. The second level is adding a second room. Okay, the first room keeps climbing up and up and up, and it keeps going forever, right? The funds
mhm.
from that, are they shared between? How do the how does the prize pool keep going up? Is it from the? That's what I'm trying to figure out. If that room is isolated already, how does it affect the other rooms?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah, I got your question. So,
Okay,
um, from each lottery has a certain percentage that goes to the next level.
okay,
Um, and so each lottery, each level, if you will, or each round as well, has certain percentages that go to certain things. So the winner, for example, would get 30% of the pot. So $1,000, they get $300 when they win. And then an amount, a percentage of the $1,000 will also go to the next round. So that's happens to also be 30%. So $300 will roll up to the L2 to fund the L2. And then for those ROI tickets I was talking about earlier, a percentage goes to those, or percentage will go to the dividend token, which is really exciting, or the dividend NFT, um, which we can talk about in a little bit. And then a percentage goes to the weekly pot, which we can also talk about in a little bit. And so there are different percentages from that thousand that gets split up when it is closed and a winner is picked. Um, so 30% of that L1 goes up to fund an L2.
okay,
And then from an L2, 30% goes up to fund an L3. And then it keeps going like that.
okay, okay. I think I get it. Okay, and okay, let's move on to the. So these draws, I don't know how often are they? What's the
Yeah.
schedule?
So that's something that we debated it quite a bit. So the original idea, I don't really need to go into it, but I will because it's kind of fun. The original idea was that as soon as a round closes, so like an L1 closes, um, right on the spot, right there, the last person who closed it is essentially like their transaction will pick a winner, open the next one, and keep on going. So, if you bought 10,000 tickets, you would close like 10 rounds by yourself just right away, and then it'll keep on moving. Um, we decided against that model because one, didn't want to pass that gas cost on to our users. So if you're the first person who buys in versus the last person that buys in, you shouldn't have a significant gas cost difference. And if you were calling Chainlink and closing rounds and airdropping winners and all that stuff, it'd be a little unfair for you to get that gas cost associated with your transaction.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, the other thing is that we wanted some level of control over how often these things were closing. So if, there are 100 rounds that are that are waiting to have their winners picked, we don't want some mechanism that's going to close, one every hour or something. You have to wait 100 hours, right? So we wanted to be able to kind of control that based on the backlog of rounds that are closed. So we're going to have, it'd probably be Chainlink again, but have a variable rate closing so that people aren't waiting around because after, you don't want to be waiting days or weeks or anything crazy after your rounds close to see if you've won. You want that feedback relatively quickly. So we're going to have a variable rate there in the beginning when people are really excited and they're aping in. It'll probably be pretty fast because we don't want a long delay. But then, as time goes on in like a year or something, we probably won't be closing around every 10 seconds or something. We'll probably be doing it more on demand as it goes. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it's going to be a variable rate of closure because we don't want people waiting around.
Mm-hmm. Just as a side tangent, real quick, how are you going to notify people of the, like, how are you going to notify people that the rounds are done, for example?
Yeah, so on the UI, it'll present all that information. So like the rounds that you've participated in, the rounds that you've won, other rounds that are happening, there'll be information on the UI for it. Um, and then, of course, everything on being on chain, you can always query the contract for, what round we're on, what happened in previous rounds, stuff like that. But yeah, the UI will have uh, I don't know what to call them, graphics, I guess, so that you can see what's going on in the lottery at any point in time.
Hmm. All right, cool. It would be uh, Echo. Shut up. Sorry. Uh, I was in another DApp not too long ago, and it actually sent notifications to my phone when it was ready. That's something cool that you guys could do, perhaps.
Oh. So, I don't know if you've ever heard of Ethermail. Um, It was
Oh,
something as dabbling with so this isn't in scope of what we were planning on doing. This is just me talking. Um, but it's a really fun idea. So basically you have your address, and then your email address becomes your on-chain address at ethermail.com. And I thought it was such a cool idea because you can communicate with your um, like with people that are inside of your DApp or your investors or your players or whatever,
mm,
in a kind of decentralized fashion without having personal any personal identification or like no real emails. You don't have to make a burner email for a
that is pretty
project.
cool.
It's really cool. We could definitely talk about doing something like that. The only problem that I found is that on the side of like the DApp side, like sending actual emails, I got rate limited. So I was very
Mm,
frustrated with that as I got rate limited doing it programmatically. But something like that, or if they expand in the future, would be dope. I totally agree.
mm.
Like, can you imagine how cool it would be if like every time you could sign up for alerts so that every time, something happens or you win or one of your referrals wins, which is even better,
Mm.
you got an email about it on your, Web 2 device or whatever. So yeah, no,
Uh,
things like that are super cool.
I just posted a link in the room if you want to check it out. It's actually kind of cool. It's similar to what you're talking about, and I think also DBank is doing something similar now too, where you can they're trying to make wallets like social media, where you can leave messages for people. I think DBank is doing something similar to that too. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
they are, but it's like it's weirdly expensive.
It
I
is. I
That's
don't.
what I didn't get about their model.
Yeah, it's like $1 just as it's silly. But I can see I can see it evolving into something less dumb than what DBank is doing.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
this method is a little bit different though. It's a it's like the authenticator app that you have on your phone.
Hmm.
you just scan it, you just scan whatever DeFi, it'll send you a message on your iOS device or your Android device. When you're, I think this was like one of those things where I had to push compound every blah 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 blah,
Hmm.
and it was sending me notifications. Even though the DApp died, I still get the notifications. It's annoying.
Interesting. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Okay, okay, all right. So uh, weekly drawings. I like it. Um, what else? You touched on the referral system. Why don't we segue into that?
Yeah, so this is a really fun part of the project. As a project, to kind of back up a little bit and kind of like what we were talking about before, a project is only as good as its community. Um,
Yeah.
the people in it, its existence is reliant upon, having a good organic community that's, bullish and ready to help each other and like have fun and celebrate with each other, things like that. And that's one of the things, because we kind of touched on it earlier, that I think really has set different projects apart from one another because you have when something launches and you have a bunch of people aping in that don't actually care about the project and then it crashes and then everybody dips and everybody's just mad, that's not a great experience. And a lot of times it's hard to cultivate that, even when times are bad, it's hard to cultivate that like really good, like bullish group dynamic that makes projects thrive. And one of the things we wanted to do with the referral system is encourage that kind of behavior where people are celebrating together. So the way it works is you have your referral NFT, which lets you be able to get referral rewards essentially. And then when somebody uses your referral and buys in, you don't get anything right off the bat. So, like if I use your referral and I buy $100 of tickets, you're not going to get, 3% of that. You're not going to get like 3 tickets or something or 30 tickets. Instead, how it works is when I win, so when I'm pumped because I just won and I'm excited, that's when you get your referral. So a percentage of the winnings from each round goes to the people who referred that person in. And that's awesome. So what we really wanted was a way for people to celebrate together. So if I won, I'm jazzed, right? I just won a couple hundred, a couple thousand, a couple whatever.
I like that.
Uh, and then because you referred me, I'm gonna be like, bro, I just won. This is awesome. Get me on your channel now. And then you're gonna be like, not only did you win, I just won too, because you just got the referral payout from my win. So then you can have me on your channel or like even just in the chat and just be like, bro, we won together. This is awesome. And it's a really fun synergy. So it's not about, how many refs can I pump through this? How do I get 1,000 refs and like cheat? It's about referring people and having them be or having being able to celebrate with them as they win. And the other thing that's nice is that the referrals aren't draining the system. So it's not like, I get 1,000 referrals, 400 of those were myself. I just created a bunch of accounts to drain a bunch of money. Um, it's about it. There's no real benefit to self-referring or to mass self-referring. I mean, you could self-refer if you want, but to mass self-refer because you don't get paid on every single ticket that gets bought. You get paid when you win.
Mm, okay. I like that. I like that. It'll build group synergy, especially if multiple people from the same community win over and over and over again. That'd be cool. Okay,
Hmm.
I like it. All right, weekly pots. That's easy. My money goes in. I check it every week or so. I see if I win. Uh, and I'm in a community. I'll know other people winning. That's cool. So
Yeah,
it's like a social lottery kind of.
yeah, that's kind of what we want it to turn into, right? Because it's all about the user base. It's all about the community. So we want people to have fun with each other, celebrate together, help each other, and um, we want it to be the best parts of DeFi. We don't want pump and dump. That's why, one of the reasons we don't have a token associated with it, because on BSC, a token launches, it pumps, and then all the initial people get out, it dumps, and then everybody's sad and stuck, and maybe it gets back and maybe it doesn't. So we don't have any of that. We have, NFTs for different things. So we have a referral NFT that we just kind of touched on, which will allow you to get referral rewards.
Okay,
Particular,
so not only so it's kind of like drip with the B read token, right? So for you I can participate with just my tokens, but if I want to start referring people, I need the referral NFT, right?
yes. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Well, you can refer people, but just like B-Rape, you won't get anything back unless you hold that NFT.
Okay.
And then we have the dividend NFT too, which I guess we could probably touch on next if you want.
Please.
Yeah. So the dividend NFT is fun. It's a really bullish mechanism that kind of allows people to participate in a different way in the ecosystem. for those who are interested. So there's going to be a capped number of dividend NFTs, and a percentage of each round that's closed is going to go towards a pot that's going to pay out those dividend NFTs. So I believe it's 1,500, if I'm not mistaken. We're actually giving one out as a prize today, which is very exciting for whoever wins that.
Mm,
But the way it's going to work is that money from each round is going to go to the dividend pot and then get distributed to NFT holders. So, and the reason we capped it out is because if you have, let's say we have 50,000 NFTs out there, you're going to get, and you own one, you're going to get 1/50,000th of whatever, $4 or something, every time a round closes. I made that number up, but you get the idea.
mm-hmm.
Uh, but we capped it so that at the most diluted, you'll get 1/1500th if you hold one NFT of the divs coming out of the lottery. And that's really bullish because as the lottery progresses, the dividends will increase because it's a percentage of the pot, and the pots will increase as time goes on. And at the same time, the number of NFTs to be minted will be going down because people will be minting NFTs and getting divs and whatever. So in a couple months, you'll have this point where the divs are getting higher and the supply is getting lower, and that creates a really bullish kind of supply and demand chart where the NFT itself will then um, essentially be more, or
Are
it'll
the
retain a value.
well, are these mix, are these fixed supply, or is it just can it keep minting forever?
Yeah, fixed supply. So that's what I was saying, that the number of dividend NFTs is capped at 1,500. So it's a fixed supply of that forever. So once those are minted, the only way to get one would be to buy it on a secondary market. And so that's what I was saying with the kind of supply and demand
Mm,
chart. So the the divs that the NFTs will be paying out will be increasing over time because the lotteries will get bigger and bigger and bigger, and
mm,
the supply of NFTs that can be minted will be decreasing as people mint more of them because it's capped at 1,500.
okay, let's go back a second real quick. So, um, somebody somebody in my community wins. I don't have referral NFT. What happens to that money? What happens to that? What happens to that referral reward? Where does it go?
I that's a good question. So I actually forget offhand. I don't know if one of the other guys. So we were talking about this
Does it
like
go back
maybe
into
a
the
couple of
pool?
weeks ago. Um, Let me look. I don't know if one of the guys listening remembers what we decided to do with it.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was something that we chatted about. We had a couple ideas, and that's why I don't want to say one without one of the guys. So, well, we had a couple of ideas of different places that it could go, which was kind of one of the really fun things about creating your own DApp, is these conversations about like, well, what if this happens? And what's like the most bullish way to do something with it,
Game theory.
Um, and yeah, exactly, crafting the game theory, and that's been one of the really
I love it.
fun and sometimes frustrating, but mostly fun parts about this because we've talked about so many things. But it makes me confused sometimes because I don't remember what we actually. Um,
I trust me. I understand.
it
Okay.
I don't know if, well, one of the
I
guys will chime in, but
yeah. I was just
it goes
curious because
somewhere. Yeah,
yeah.
it doesn't go to my pocket, I'm pretty sure. So, well, maybe it'll go to my pocket, but I don't think so.
No, well, that's a good segue. That's a good segue. I am not one of those people that don't like dev fees. I like dev fees a lot because I think devs should get paid for building and be incentivized to keep building. So tell me, where are you guys getting paid in this ecosystem? How is the team getting paid? That
Yeah, absolutely. So, what we are going to be doing is we're gonna hold a pre-sale for for some NFTs for a portion of the supply of NFTs. We're gonna have a pre-sale where what we're essentially doing is raising funds for marketing and audits and other opportunities and things like that. That probably isn't going to really pay as much because we're going to spend it all on marketing. But in the lottery, there is a dev fee associated with it, and let me see what that was. Um, I literally just was looking at this, and then I scrolled away, and now I'll never find it again. Infinite. But I don't want to take the time now. It's a small. There's a small dev fee associated with the lottery that
Mm-hmm.
is actually, so it's going to go to a couple things. I mean, one is devs getting paid is cool, but what we really want to do is grow the project. So the Chainlink random number subscription is one place that we're going to pull from that kind of dev fee pool, and then other marketing stuff, of course.
Mm-hmm.
It, it's funny. It's kind of funny because when you're building a project, they're kind of two mindsets. There's the from a dev's perspective at least. There's the I want to build this because I want to make a bunch of cash and dip. Far less even the ruggers, which is terrible. But and then there's the kind of like I want to build this for the community to have a community, and I want to see it thrive. Um, you see a lot of the former in the space, which is very unfortunate. The team that we've put together is definitely not that like I don't even remember what the dev fee is because it's like not a significant portion of like what's fun about this project for me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking to build and have like a fun DApp that's successful and stays around for a while and builds a community. So that's
Mm-hmm.
really what we're about. And so it's
Okay.
it's there. There is a dev fee associated with it. It's relatively small. I don't remember what it is. Full disclosure.
That's that's fine. That's fine. I'll look it up at a later date. And I'm sure it's in the white paper somewhere. Um, so let's tell me about the team. So I you've told us about you. Um, break down the rest of the team for me.
Yeah, so we are located, kind of all over the globe. It's actually kind of fun because I see our team. There's like 4 or 5 of us now. We recently had a little switcheroo, but we we're all over the globe. It's a fun representation of kind of what DeFi is, because at least I met these guys, through the chats and through DeFi projects, and it's not like people I've known. Um, it's like not my buddy down the street who was like, "Hey, you want to make $10?" And then he was like, "Yeah, definitely." And it's like, "Let's do this." We met, through the chats and through the communities, and we were talking. Me and Mike in particular had been talking for a while about just DeFi stuff, and I was helping him out with a few things. And then he's like, "Hey, I think we have this idea. Do you want to, help out, help us flesh it out, and kind of build it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And that's what this kind of turned into. And Zavi was the one who had the initial brainchild of like how the structure would work. And we spent, I don't know, hours and hours and hours on calls just talking through what the different possibilities are and what you can do and what you can't do, and what's a bullish way to do something, what's what are the proper incentives so that people are engaging in behaviors that help the protocol as opposed to hurt the protocol. um, and it's been a really fun process with the guys. They're I'm not I couldn't dox them if I wanted to because they are doxed, but uh, it's been really fun working with them. It's been great, and we were kind of talking about getting into little spats. We on the internet. We in in our chats and in our meetings and stuff, sometimes it gets a little heated because we're like, we should do it this way, and somebody else is like, no, we should definitely do it that way. And there's been a lot of that, but I think we've kind of settled on a the optimal like bullish level of this kind of lottery implementation, which is dope. It's been a pleasure working with them.
Mm, okay. Walk me through like a typical work day for your team. How do you guys collaborate? How do you interact? How do you get feedback? How do you um, revise things?
Yeah, I mean it's all on Telegram, right? That's kind of how we all met, and
Hmm.
that's how we work most of the time. Um, we are we have like a million different chats. I think we were actually talking about this in the chat we have with you, that we have so many different chats with all these different people.
Yeah.
It's hard to kind of keep track. But yeah, it's all through
Yeah.
Telegram. We do voice chats when we need to kind of hash something out, and text isn't quite efficient enough. But yeah, we're just chatting away. Somebody has an idea, put it in the chat.
Do you guys have like a weekly schedule where you guys make sure you're online together, where you're like in a room, VC like that? I'm just curious how different DeFi teams work and how they get things done.
Yeah, we do occasionally. We had a weekly like VC. Life always gets in the way. It's hard to have those set schedules um, with people all over the place. That's it, it it's kind of funny in that different people and different personalities have different relationships with DeFi, I've found. So you have the guys like me, honestly, that are just always on. Like when I'm awake, I'm probably at my computer. You're the same way. You're probably there. You're probably staring at something. You're probably in the chats. You're probably checking charts. You're probably doing something. And
Mhm.
then, you have people who work other jobs. I still have a day job. Um, Although I work on DeFi pretty much as much, if not more, as my day job, which is funny.
Mm.
Um, and then you have folks with other commitments and stuff like that. And when you're all remote and scattered across the globe, it can be kind of hard to get into those like everyone all at once spaces. We try our best. So like for them, sometimes it's kind of late when we meet. For me, it's kind of like in the middle of the day. But they're kind of working asynchronously, if you want to take a programming turn, through Telegram has been really good. That's
Mhm.
been probably the easiest way to do it. Drop something in the chat, and then you tag everybody who needs to look at it. Then 4 hours later, they're like, "Oh yeah, I saw that thing. It's pretty cool. Maybe we can do it this way." And then we have like a Notion board that keeps track of some stuff, which is helpful. But yeah, that's and GitHub repo, of course, but that's more on the deving side.
Mm. Okay. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So I find I think that's one of the I think that's one of the failings of projects in DeFi. They don't you just have somebody who's over there on Pacific time. He does this stuff at when he does it. There's somebody over there doing this stuff, and then they never coordinate. They don't, and it just never works out. So I like it that are um, you guys seem like a cohesive unit. Every time I've talked to you guys are always usually, you guys make the time to be at the same place to answer the questions. So that's you guys are already winning in my book when it comes to that part.
it th- for devs, and this is not as I say this, it has nothing to do with our team really, but in the DeFi space in general, devs in particular are notoriously unreliable, which I'm sure everybody listening has experienced.
Well, well,
It
I think the problem there is that word, dev. I think that's the problem there. Um, when that word is so arbitrary and so like silly because dev is just the guy who came up with the idea. The guy, is not actually the guy coding most of the time. So when they say somebody's a dev, it's like, is he the coder, or is he the guy who came up with the idea, or is he the marketing guy? So whenever I hear dev, it's always one of those questions. I'm like, what kind of dev are you?
Yeah, that's true. It is used as a loose term, and it often is used as a catch-all term for whoever like helped build it.
Hmm.
But particularly, I'm talking about the coding ones. I think there's something that's actually pretty obvious, but being an anonymous um, entity on the internet makes people weird a lot of the time. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to, but a lot of times it does. And devs in the space have a lot of power and they have a lot of leverage and they have a lot of leeway. And some of them take advantage of it. Unfortunately, I mean, there have been many projects that I am not going to name any of that have had dev troubles, either from, being an outright bad actor, which, is garbage, it makes them garbage human beings, or just, being unresponsive. Like, we've been trying to get like in contact with somebody for when I say we, I'm not talking about us because we've actually had amazing experience with our devs. It's been great. So Semi is the guy we've been working with, and he's been amazing. So I'm totally not talking about him at all. Just generally in the space, they'll just ghost, and then they won't be there, and then you'll need to do something, and they'll be gone. You can't get in contact with them. Deadlines are approaching. It's like it's
Right.
uh it's crazy. But yeah,
That's
we've
what
we've had a dope experience so far.
I guess that was my bad joke earlier when I was trying to. That was a bad joke I was trying to make earlier. Like, if I don't think a dev is somebody that disappears. I think that's what I'm trying to. I guess what I'm trying to say is there are people who are pretending to be, and there are people who actually are, and it's hard to figure out to find the right ones. Um,
For sure,
or
definitely. Finding good people is both really easy and really difficult all at the same time. But we found a good crew.
finding good people that can be good consistently is really hard for me.
Hmm.
I like, but I digress. Okay, I like it. I like it quite a bit. I keep wanting to call him Mr. T, but I know it's MT. Is that the guy you called Michael?
Mike, yeah, Mike.
Yeah, Mike. Mike. So he is he's the brains behind it. I'm assuming, right?
Well, it's
I,
it's been I would say he's the one of the most
the
consistent
instigator.
driving forces. Well, so Zavi was the original idea person. So he came up with the structure of the lottery. And then Mike has been instrumental in kind of coordinating it all together. He's kind of like our project manager, I guess you could say. He's the guy who's like, hey guys, we need to do this and we need to do that and we need to get this done and these two people need to connect. He's been kind of like the wheels of it for
Hmm.
quite some time. So Mike's been great.
Hmm. Who controls everything? Who holds the keys? Who who's going to be in control of the funds?
So we don't have funds yet in that way. So right now
But when you
nobody.
do, when
But
you
but
do,
when we do, yeah, we're probably gonna have some sort of like, either Gnosis safe or something like that. That's multi-sig. I think that's what we were just talking about in one of the chats.
mm,
So that, one person can't run away with the funds, of course. For those of you who don't know, multi-sig wallets are awesome. Highly recommend them for not just for teams, but also for individuals. It's a wallet that's actually a contract that requires multiple signatures to move assets or to do anything. So for an individual, that's great because it's basically uncompromisable
mm,
from a safety standpoint. And then for teams, it's great because you need, at least, whatever, two of three or three of five signatures and people on the team to sign off before anything moves, which is really good for teams because you don't want, one person holding keys to anything,
I,
um,
I
and,
like that.
having that centralization point.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I don't think any one person should be in control of any one. I don't think anybody should be. It should. I don't think it should ever come down to one person. But
Hmm.
that's a personal preference of mine. Um, okay. I just had a question and I lost it. 1 second. Let me try to get it back. Where'd you go? No, I lost it. Okay. Okay. Um, damn it. It was a good one too. I was formulating it. Okay, I lost it. So tell me. Oh yes, I found the question. Okay, walk me through. Pretend I don't know anything about DeFi. Walk me through. Give me the best advice that you can on how to get started, what I should watch out for, what I should gravitate towards. Uh, Pretend I'm a complete newbie and give me some advice, sir, on how to DeFi.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great kind of tutorial to have. So the for me personally,
Mm-hmm.
when I got into the space, so I saw a Medium article. In this case, it was about drip. So I saw a drip Medium article, and I was like, "What the heck is this? I need to find out more information." And so when I find something that catches my eye, I dive into a rabbit hole immediately. So I was Googling and researching and doing everything for days before I did anything. Um,
Okay.
a lot of people aren't like that. There's definitely positives and negatives to that kind of behavior. Uh, but that's how I did it. So I researched on my own as much as I could to understand the little bit that I could understand at that point in time. Um, if I were to do it again, uh, I would probably do it that way because I'm just kind of in my own little island of like people around me who are in DeFi. But uh, for the people listening to this who are already in DeFi, what would have made my life way easier and what I later learned is that having somebody you can trust in the space explain these things to you is so much better. Like if you can find somebody either on the chats or preferably in real life if you can, but at the very minimum on the chats, if you can find like a community, like a DeFi cult perhaps,
Okay.
where people aren't bad actors. It's not a scam project that's out to get you. Nobody's asking for your keys. If you can find trusted people that in the space that are willing to take the time to explain stuff to you, that's worth its weight in. I was going to say gold. It's worth its weight in Bitcoin, um, because it'll help keep you safe because you have somebody that you can actually trust, and then you have somebody with knowledge in the space that can help you avoid common pitfalls. And when I first started, so like didn't know anything about DeFi, barely knew anything about crypto. I almost put my seed phrase into my LastPass.
Mm,
And this was like, and then like a year or so ago, there was a LastPass breach, and I was like, oh my God, thank God I did not put my unencrypted, just plain seed into my LastPass. It was crazy. It's little things like that. Like I got lucky on that. I was like, this is
yeah.
probably not a good idea.
I almost took a picture
Oof.
and left it. I almost took a picture and then I was like, what am I doing?
I
I,
can't tell you how many people do that though, and it wrecks so many people because it gets uploaded to the cloud. The number of people who got compromised from their iCloud backing up their entire MetaMask instance to the cloud, their Apple password or whatever gets
yeah.
breached. Somebody gets in there and then just downloads their entire wallet. Um, it happens. It happens all the time.
It's
So like
it's
those,
it's so easy to do that. It's so very easy. It's so easy. People don't
yeah.
realize that, and that's why I don't like all the hostilities in these rooms towards newbies because it, these things are complicated, and now that we know them, they're not complicated to us anymore. So we get frustrated when people are asking, and we're like, "Why don't you just go read?" And we forgot how many different places we had to go read to figure it out. But
How many different videos and
yeah,
yeah.
when these guys are like, go read. Never mind that, there's not just one single place that we learn these things from, but in our minds, we think there's just one simple article there. Oh, why didn't you just go read the simple article? No, that's not how we got here. We got here to doing it really crappy and then figuring out the right way. And I really believe that if the hostility can stop, that'll be so much better for DeFi because I see so many people go into rooms and they're like, how do I do this? And people jump on them. They're like, well, I'm gonna get off now. That's
Hmm.
too hostile. And I'm like, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. What I found, so one thing that Bartertown Ray told me really early on, because he was actually one of the people I kind of latched onto in the beginning as like a person who I could trust in the space. So one of the things that he told me was that like every community that you can get into, join. Like, don't be like, oh, I don't care about the community. Just join the community because you never know when that alpha is going to pop up for somebody who's been in the space. But then for somebody new to the space, identifying those communities that, especially the smaller subset communities, that are kind of more tight knit, if you can get into one of those and they're people that, you know, that you vibe with and that you can trust in there, you're going to get so much value from that. Um,
Mm,
it's just 100% the way to go. And
it is.
videos are nice. Like YouTube videos are nice. There's a lot of content out there, but there's no, in my opinion, there's no replacement for the community aspect and actually having somebody on the other side of, God knows where in the world that you trust their opinion.
Well said, sir. Well said. I have this. I wanted this. I wanted the slogan. I wanted my slogan to be, "It's okay to do stupid stuff. Maybe ask somebody first." But but people didn't like it, so I just went with "Join us. We join us. We know things." But I had an expletive in there. I was like, "It's okay to do dumb shit. Just maybe just maybe ask somebody else first." And I think that's a great mantra to live by, guys. It's okay to think about doing the dumb stuff. Just maybe ask somebody first to see, maybe if you've been caught in like echo chamber that you didn't realize. Shut up, Echo.
One thing that I will say that kind of ties in perfectly with that point is that a lot of times you need to do the dumb shit yourself before you learn. And unfortunately, in DeFi, that often means you have to lose some money. I mean, there's nobody here who hasn't been, wrecked or rugged or sent funds to the wrong address or got stuck on a CEX, any compromised, God forbid. When I first started, I keep going back to these stories because I think they're hilarious. But when I first started, in one of the chats, I forget which one, but I saw one of those spam postings that was like, "Hey, Elon Musk is going to double your Bitcoin. Go to this address and send some Bitcoin to this ad." I fell for it. I clicked on it and I was like, "Oh shit, Elon's going to double my Bitcoin? No way!" And I sent him, an insignificant him. I sent him. I sent the scammer some insignificant amount of Bitcoin, but um, it was just it was hilarious because at the time I was so excited because I was like a little Elon fanboy, a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh my God, Elon's gonna fucking send me money. And then, like 5 minutes passed, and I was like, uh-oh. And then I saw the counter of the countdown of like how much Bitcoin was left reset, and I was like, oh fuck, I got scammed. Uh, I was bummed about it. It was rough. It was a rough time for me. But it was a
Uh,
really important lesson to learn.
I'm
Like,
sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. So I promise.
oh no, you should laugh at me. That was, especially looking back, I was like, how was I that dumb?
Uh,
But but
no,
here we
no,
are.
no, 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 no. It's not that. It's not that. I don't think that's what it is. I think I think what it is we're all used to this thing where people tell you there's no such thing as free money, but there is free money in crypto,
That
and
is true.
there is free money in crypto, and I think some people keep that in the back of their minds, and it leads them to do dumber stuff than they would have normally done. So I think that might have a little to do with it because there really is free money in crypto. I mean, there's these airdrops, uh, there's so many different ways you could do it. I've never found one, but I've seen other people that have found them. So I think that leads to the whole like people. trying to find. It's like a gold rush right now, and I think that's what it is. Um, Everybody's once in a while has. I found this big piece of gold, and we're like, oh, it'll be my turn soon. It'll be my turn soon. It'll be my turn soon. And I think that leads us to make extra dumb decisions that we wouldn't have normally made, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. So the two things that I see the most in getting wrecked in some way, shape, or form, one, like somebody will have an issue, and then they'll be trying to solve it so hard they put on blinders and they're just like, I'm tired, I need to split my LP or whatever. And then Rose will hit them up and they'll just like in that flash, in that like moment of like, I just need to like figure out this problem, they do
Yeah,
something stupid. They click on a link, they put in their seed somewhere. And then the other half of that, which is exactly what you were just saying, is airdrop chasing. You know, so many people get wrecked from airdrop chasing. Um, and it's like for a scammer, it's like a kid in a candy store, right? Because these
it
airdrops, like
really
you
is.
said, they come out of nowhere. So if you just say like, oh, this hot coin right now is doing an airdrop, and everybody's like, oh, I would definitely want that coin because it's trending right now. And then, you sign 4 approvals and then they drain 4 of your assets immediately with a bot. That
Yeah.
approvals are really sneaky. Um, uh, if anybody doesn't know how approvals work,
Why don't
DM
you
me,
let me
look it
break it
up.
down? Can you
Yeah,
give us
absolutely.
a just in case somebody's coming
Yeah,
along this later on?
yeah, absolutely. So an approval, what it is it's saying that whatever address you approve can take X amount of tokens out of your wallet without your permission. So what it's used for in legitimate cases is a contract will have to take and transfer tokens out of your wallet to do something. So Infinite Lottery, for example, when you want to buy tickets, you're buying with USDC, you'll have to approve USDC so that we can take, so that not we, but so the contract can take tokens out of your wallet. Every single dApp works like that. Approvals are for any token that's not the native asset. So BNB has no approval. Um, the uh, and that's perfectly fine. Every dApp you've ever interacted with, pretty much, you have to do an approval first, and then you do whatever the action is. So, we were talking about drip earlier. With the faucet, you approve drip on the faucet. The faucet contract can then take that drip and put it into its contract from your wallet. Um, the flip side of that, of where that gets abused, is that if you approve my wallet to take an asset USDC out of it, I can do that whenever I want. So I can just say, hey, Tiamat's wallet, I can take 10 USDC. Yes, please. I can just take it out. No interaction of you besides that approval. So what scammers will do is they'll have you sign a bunch of approval transactions. You're probably not going to read them because you're either chasing an airdrop or like whatever. You don't know what it's doing. You don't the numbers on the screen will be like huge, so it'll be like 20 trillion USDC approval on some
Mhm.
contract you've never seen. You're just clicking through. You're not paying attention. And then what they essentially did is you just gave them permission to take as much USDC out of your wallet as you can, as they want. And there's usually a bot attached to it. So as soon as you do it, you won't have time to revoke. It'll just transfer that money out. And that happens a ton. So
I
malicious approvals are like uh, they don't wreck your whole account. So it's not like getting your seed compromised, but it is a way to easily lose assets.
Yeah, it's kind of like inviting a vampire into your mansion, but the vampire is restricted to whatever room, you know, yeah, whatever room, the rooms being whatever token you approved. So
Exactly.
when you give somebody your seed phrase, they have the whole run of the house. But with the approval, it's just that specific room, that specific coin. So, and one other thing I would add to that too is I fell for this once. The website, right? It popped up the approval, and then a second approval popped up, and I wasn't paying
Yes.
attention. I wasn't paying attention. The first approval was the right one. The second one was something else. They wanted, I think the first approval for it was one of those minor things.
Hmm.
It was minor crazies, and you approve I think it was USDC I was using. Approved the USDC for deposit, and immediately there was another thing that popped up, and it wanted me to approve Bitcoin. No, it wanted me to approve Ethereum, I think.
Hmm.
And I don't know why I caught it, but miraculously I caught it, and it didn't take my money. But you gotta all these little things. DeFi is hard. DeFi is hard. That's why it really is a good idea to find a community, to find people that you drive with, because the best the best thing you can ever do is ask somebody, is this does this seem right for you? And the more of that, the more questions like that you ask, the less you are apt to be wrecked, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
absolutely. That gut check, and your gut almost always knows. If you pay attention to it, it'll be like I've had so many people ask me like, "Hey, this doesn't seem right. Is this right?"
Right.
And then they send it to me, and I'm like, "No, that is not right. Run away,
Yeah.
hide, report."
Yeah. Okay. Um, I'm taking you quite a bit of your time. So why don't you? We still have a giveaway to do too. But why don't you in case somebody fast forwards through the whole video and they want to look to the last 15 minutes, a, give us an elevator pitch, a summary of what we just talked about. Give us your sales pitch for Infinite Lottery. Make sure you tell us the website, blah, blah, blah. Go.
Yeah, absolutely. So at Infinite Lottery, what we're trying to do is build a community DApp where you can buy in with USDC and then be entered forever to win a round, essentially. So they start out small with $1,000 drawings or $1,000 rounds that have $300 prizes, and then they go up from there. So your ticket, your minimum purchase, if you choose 10 tickets, you don't just get entered in that round. You, if for the $1,000 round, you also later down the line get entered into the $6,000 drawing, and then I don't know what the numbers are offhand, but then like the $18,000 drawing, and then it keeps going up from there, and you keep getting entered because the lottery for you is infinite, and so your chances to win are essentially kind of infinite too because you're included in every drawing post the initial one. We also have a dividend structure where you can buy an NFT and then receive dividends from the lottery, which is awesome because it's capped out at a specific supply. It's 1,500 NFTs, and after those are minted, there will be no more. And then there's referrals that you can do, and as a really fun community building part, when you refer somebody and they win, that's when you get paid. So when they win, you win, um, which is a really awesome model because then we can all win together.
Beautiful. Thank you. Oh, uh, tell us about the pre-sale, launch, and schedules.
Yeah, so we don't have hard dates yet. Our pre-sale is going to be coming up relatively soon. And
Okay.
what we're going to be pre-saling is our NFTs specifically. So it'll be a portion of the dividend NFTs, and I think we're doing one for the referral NFTs as well. So we are going to do a pre-sale there, and then post pre-sale, we're going to use that funds for marketing and audits and whatever else we need to make sure that we're all squared away, buttoned up, and then we're going to launch hopefully later this year. Uh, Time slips by so quickly. I don't want to actually say any dates because I have no idea, but we're aiming to get out there pretty soon and get started because we've built so much and it's been really fun and really exciting. So we want to get it out there when we can.
I like it. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate you guys stopping by today and taking the time to do this. I think Frack is going to start doing the giveaway. But in the meantime, is there? Do you want to? Do you have time to take questions from the crowd?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Seamus wants to speak. Let me allow him to speak. Seamus, I lost all. I'm a money magnet. Okay. Morning, Seamus.
Yeah, good morning, mate. Thank you so much for the opportunity to ask a question. I'm gonna go straight to my question. All right. From what I read, I see that for every draws there's a 30% allocation to one winner. So I want to know, as an NFT holder, does the NFT serve as a catalyst to determine um the draws, like my winning rates on every draw? What I mean now is, do I get a higher chance of winning the lotteries if I hold more NFTs? And also, I would like you to talk more about your NFTs. Are they dynamic NFTs? Like, does the reward or the dividend increases as we spam through other levels?
Yeah, those are good questions. So for the lottery odds, your holding of an NFT or not holding an NFT does not influence your odds of winning it. So the NFTs are essentially odds-wise completely separate. So the referral NFT is just for referrals, and then the dividend NFT is just for dividends. So there's no overlap there. And then on the dividend side, so when a round is closed and paid out, a percentage of the money from that round closing will go towards the dividend pool, and then that will be split among the dividend NFT holders. So the amounts going to the pool for the dividend NFT holders will be variable based on the round's closing. So for example, if a round closes and $10 from that goes to the dividend pool, that'll be split amongst all of the NFT holders, for all the dividend NFT holders. But if a round closes and $1,000 gets sent to the NFT pool because it's a much later level round drawing, then $1,000 will be split between the NFT dividend holders, the dividend NFT holders. And why that's so bullish is because later rounds or as time goes on, the later rounds get bigger and bigger and bigger for their drawings. And so the NFT dividends also get bigger and bigger and bigger. And because NFT supply is capped, the supply of NFTs will be going down as they get minted. And eventually they'll all be minted. And then your only way to get them will be to buy them.
Okay. If I could, Jesus, I lost my question again. What is wrong with me? Okay. Any other questions? Or Seamus, do you have any follow-ups?
Yeah. No, no, no. I'm all good. I'm all right. Thank you so much for the answers. I got my answers, and I'll also be looking out for your DApp and your NFTs as well. I like what you guys are building up, and it's a great nice initiative. Thank you guys for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you.
I remembered now. Is there while we were on that same subject, is there any way to increase your chances of winning? Like the way he was saying, holding the dividend NFT, if it gave you like I think they call it a handicap. Is that what it's called, a handicap? I'm not really
But
into golf, but is there is there
yeah,
any
I
way
get what
to
you're saying.
increase the odds of winning, or is it just buy tickets, you buy tickets, the end?
Yeah, so there is some gamification in there. Um, and I'll kind of gloss over it and leave some of it up to imagination. But so you know how big the rounds are. So L1's capped at 1,000, L2's capped at I think it's 6,000, and so on. So you know how many tickets are in that current open round. You know how many tickets it needs to end, and you know the difference, of course. You know, that's all on chain.
Mm,
So there is an ability to snipe um, at different points in the lottery. So if you know, so let's say you have $1,000, or actually let's go higher because it's a more clear example. Let's say you have $10,000 and you're like, I want to get in this and I want to extract as much value as I can from this, from my $10,000 I'm investing. So what you can do is um, you can see, so in an L2, for example, there are 20 L1s that in it, so that's 20,000 tickets. You have 10,000, so you have half. If you invest right at the end of in the 19th or 18th round, your capital will be split among two different L2s, essentially. And so your odds overall, if you did the math, would be more or less the same winning. But you could also invest halfway, and get all of your tickets and fill up the most amount of slots in that L2 as you can. So therefore increasing your odds. So there's a little bit of gamification like that. And the other thing that we actually just were talking about and trying to figure out how we can make it possible, and I think we can, is if you have more than 1,000 tickets or $1,000 to buy, you could potentially close entire rounds just yourself. And then you're automatically the winner. So let's say there's an L1 that's open and it
let's
has,
get to $1 million already. Boom, boom, boom.
oh, well, I mean, yeah, if you're putting in that much, that would be a lot. But
I'm
smaller.
kidding.
Let's say you have $3,000, right? Or let's say 2,500 that you want to put in. So if there's an open L1 that has 500 tickets left before it closes, you could put in that 2,500. You would close that L1, and then your 2,000 would be two L1s that are just you. So you're the only person in it. So your odds of winning are 100%. So you're going to win. And you can do stuff like that and essentially get an ROI back, right? Because you automatically win those two, and then it goes up to the next one. And you can kind of plan out what you want to do because there are set kind of percentages in there that you can kind of play with. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds, but it's a really
I kind of get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a fun like game theory to play with, where we're kind of gamifying the lottery in that you can put your money in different places or allocate it differently and kind of maximize your either chances of winning or maximize your immediate ROI, kind of things like that.
Okay.
Oh, actually, there's one other thing that reminded me of that I personally think is super important. So the way we crafted it, at no point in the entire lottery's existence will there be a point where we can't pay out a winner or a div or something. Every dollar is always accounted for and always in the contract. So even when we talk about these like kind of free tickets, ROI tickets, stuff like that, those are always backed by actual money that came in, and they're always accounted for. So if we get to level 10 or something, it's not going to be like we get there and there isn't enough money in the contract to pay out the actual winners and then it just dies. That can never happen. And that was something really important in the beginning that I didn't understand and needed to see for myself. So I had to do all the math to make sure that the way that we were doing it, we weren't ever going to run out of money because, that's the worst, right? A minor, you get in and then 2 weeks later, you can't withdraw because there's no money in the contract. But that's never going to happen with this. So there's never going to be a point where there isn't money in the contract that it needs to be paid out.
I think I've seen that referred to as like a last man standing kind of thing. I think that's what I've seen that referred to. Okay. Any other questions from the audience? Everybody should be unmuted. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. You guys have you and Mike have been answering questions in the room as well. So you guys have been awesome so far. Thank you very much for doing this. I appreciate you taking the time and explaining it to my less than. I'm not going to finish that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate you having us too. This has been really fun.
It has been.
How much are the div NFTs going to cost?
So I believe we have them slated for 350 right now.
Is that a till they mint out, or is that like a increasing floor?
Yeah, no, just flat rate. So we were toying with different ways to do it, like either making it more expensive or more rare. But since we're capping out the supply, they're just going to be 350, and then
There's no rarities or anything like that, right?
yeah, no, we decided for a more. We had a model like that too, but then we scrapped it for a simpler model because complexity is is another thing that really kind of kills DeFi. So anywhere you can simplify, we really tried to simplify.
Yeah,
And
complexity for
now,
the sake of complexity is just annoying.
yeah,
What about
and
what
it,
about ticket? What about ticket price to join into the lottery?
so it's always going to be one USDC.
One per entry.
Yeah,
Mhm.
one per ticket. So one ticket is always going to be one USDC.
And
Wow.
it'll never increase.
Yep, always one USDC.
That's great. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. I
Absolutely.
didn't think about that question. Great question. Thank you, sir. Frack, where are you? Where is Frack? He's here. Are you going to do the giveaway, sir? I thought you were going to regale us with some awesome giveaway strategy thing. Is he even paying attention?
I saw him in the chat not too long ago.
Yeah, he's here. Let me wait
He's
for him.
busy talking to his bot.
This sounds dirty. Yellow. Buy more tickets. You sound just like another friend of mine, Russ. You guys, it's hard for me not to. I almost think that you're like the Jekyll to his Hyde kind of thing. You guys have the same inflections in your speaking methods. Good company. He's a programmer as well. If you guys have no other questions, I will turn the recording off so that it's not too long, but we can stay on here and do the other stuff.
Sounds good. Yeah, and we're always around if you guys think of questions later. We're happy to answer them.
So, going once. Any other questions, guys? Okay. I'm going to turn off the recording. Again, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you taking the time to explain it to me. I know that I don't ask the... I know that my questions are not, that usual. So thank you again. And I'll see you the next time. Perhaps I'll see you again in a few months after the launch, and we can go over how things have gone, maybe mistakes you've made, lessons you've learned, plans, and all that good stuff. I like reviewing things.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's fun. And even leading up to, pre-sale and launch and all that sort of stuff. Happy to always hop back on and kind of give everybody the alpha.
I like it. Well, I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you again for stopping by.
Absolutely. Thank you.